Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin and the fact that it has pushed past its 20-day moving average. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So now that Bitcoin has moved above its 20-day moving average, this kind of sets the stage for a lot of altcoins to start moving if Bitcoin volatility calms down. And we've already seen some of that with Ethereum. Now, the reason we say this is because we ultimately do not know what the short-term path for Bitcoin holds. We know that if it were to go up and put in a new all-time high, then in the short term, altcoins would bleed against Bitcoin. We've also seen moves in the past where after a short-term blow-off peak, it comes down, consolidates for a few months, and then continues the run. We saw that last cycle. We saw it many times last cycle where after having a nice short-term blow-off top, it consolidated for a few months before continuing its move. Okay, so if it were to do something like that, if Bitcoin were to simply consolidate here for an extended period of time, even a few days, and it were to go something like this in this region, then likely a lot of altcoins will start to move. A lot of them have already started moving, but likely a lot of them will continue to move. Now, the cool thing about this scenario is that even if 42K proves to be something that we can't get above in the short term, I think a lot of us think we'll eventually break it, whether it's next week or 5 months from now, whatever. Even if we can't break it in the short term and we ultimately trend, say, all the way back down, this type of move, if it comes up and then comes back down, if it does something like that, during this time period is a really good time for altcoins. Let me show you what I mean. So if you go back to 2017, when we had a similar move, and again, we're not saying this is a cycle peak. I don't think 42K is the entire cycle peak. We've talked about that in a lot of videos. But if you look at the last cycle, it did peak up here. It came below the 20-day, held it as resistance for a while, but then ultimately in January we got above it. And it was these 2 weeks more or less in that period where altcoin mania took place. Okay, so even if it's not able to get to 42K in a sustainable way and continue moving up, even if that doesn't happen, then there's still a good chance that altcoins could do very well over the next few weeks. Okay, so we need to keep that in mind. So that would be a scenario in which, the price of Bitcoin falls, but it might give us enough time for altcoins to start flying. Now, the other scenario, obviously, is Bitcoin just goes and puts in a new all-time high. And in this scenario, it would actually, it would be bullish for the altcoin market after Bitcoin volatility calms back down. So what we would want to see in this scenario, right, if it were to come up and put in new all-time highs, something like this, then Bitcoin dominance would go back up. Altcoins would obviously, a lot of them would gain value in USD, but they probably would not keep up with Bitcoin. It's the same thing we saw before. So the nice thing about this scenario is that as long as Bitcoin can hold these levels, whether it goes up or not is irrelevant for the altcoin market. If Bitcoin can hold these levels, every day that we hold these levels, there's going to be more coins flying. Okay, that's just most likely what will happen. So as long as you see this type of move, a lot of other coins will start to move as well. I want to remind you, if you're new, and if you didn't see the last couple videos, because we're having this major altcoin season, we are having another sale. So if you want to join the premium list and you've been waiting for the time to do so, check out the link in the description below to get a discounted price for the monthly subscription, and it'll stay that way. It'll stay locked in at that rate as long as you don't cancel. Now, currently we're at 36,430. So Bitcoin is looking pretty good so far. However, we still note that we can, this is our prior all-time high. Our prior, when we came back up, we kind of had a dead cat bounce before we continued lower. This one took us up to around 40K. So we're still decently far away from 40K. So what I would think, what I would contend here is, as long as Bitcoin does not come near these levels over the next few days, I would still expect altcoins to move. I would still expect them to move against USD, and some of them against Bitcoin. However, if it keeps trending up like this, then altcoin season, in terms of their valuation against Bitcoin, is likely going to be put on hold, because people will then FOMO back into Bitcoin, because no one ever wants to miss the Bitcoin run. People would FOMO back into Bitcoin and wait to see what happens, right? If it can go above 42K and continue higher, people are going to chase that train. So it depends on what side are you on. If you hold altcoin positions, if you have a lot of altcoin positions, what you would ideally want to see, this is not financial advice, but what I would ideally want to see as someone who has altcoin positions, is for Bitcoin, if it is going to put in a new all-time high, to just take its sweet time. Let it take its sweet time to get there. The longer it does that, the longer it just stays in this general area, then the better off the altcoin market will be. And I know a lot of people hold a lot of altcoins, whether you hold them because you like them more than Bitcoin, or you hold them to increase your Bitcoin stack. You know, Ethereum is a good coin recently that has had a major move against Bitcoin. And so we've seen these systematic moves in the market. And obviously it's nice to be able to take advantage of those moves. So this video here is just to give you a simple, what's our short-term outlook in terms of what needs to happen to catalyze altcoins to move against Bitcoin. And what we need, now that we're above the 20-day moving average, we have a bullish Bitcoin. We want Bitcoin to not get too volatile to the upside or the downside. If that happens, it should be good for altcoins. So if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel in the description below. Reminder, we do have the sale on the premium list. You can find a link to that in the description below as well. Hopefully this has been useful. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.